So there's basically three parts of this assembly. There's a lower cover that is on the attachment neck for the rearview mirror. There's what I'm going to call the upper cover, which shields the rest of the equipment that's in there. There's a triple camera array, some other sensors, and then there's a plate that's underneath here that actually goes up against the windshield with a seal. And so we're gonna have to remove all three of those items as well as the rearview mirror. This is a mount for a radar detector. I'm gonna leave that attached, but we'll be able to do it without that. So first thing is gonna be remove this part, then this part, under part, clean it, put it all back together. So for tools, most of what I'm gonna be using is a mobile phone repair kit. I'll put a link down in the description to a similar kit that'll have some tools. Mostly using what they call spudgers, plastic spudgers, because I don't want to chew up the plastic here. Okay, so the first thing I did was I removed my radar detector mount. This comes off kind of down and forward. So if you have anything mounted here, radar detector mount, phone mount, anything like that, this won't be able to release. The main tabs are near the top side. So the tabs are actually up in. So to remove it, I'm going to put the two plastic spudgers in here, use one to spread it and then one to kind of work my way down and around, and that should release the lower clips, and then it'll be able to come kind of down and out. So I'm using the flat blade spudger here, and I'm just going to go into this side right here and get this spread so I have enough room to get another tool in next to it. It's going to take two hands, so I won't be able to show it to you, but I'll show you after I get there. So right in here, there's a spot that you can get a tool up inside of, like this, and then work your way around and release the other clips. So now it's mostly released. I'm gonna just wiggle it out and down, and I'll show you the part. So this is the part, and you can see that those upper ears right here go up inside of this upper trim piece. So coming out, it needs to come kind of down and forward, and then it slips over this. Also, my trim piece may have been off before. There's a little hole here that this corresponding clip tail might be clipped into. If it is, you just squeeze the two tips of the arrow and it'll come right out of this. To remove this mirror, basically all we have to do is grab it firmly and turn it. So because the mirrors have electronic dimming, there is a plug on the back of them. You just push this tab up and then pull the plug out. So to remove this lower portion, we're gonna have to remove these four clips, or rather get this unclipped from these four clips. So the easiest way to do that is to get your fingers right under the front and pull down with kind of a sharp motion. It might feel like you're gonna break it, but you're not. The clips are just really strong so it doesn't rattle. But giving it kind of a jerk when you go to release it will help. And then once it comes down, you can see here's the forward clip. It's hooked up inside the headliner, so it needs to kind of come forwards and out. And you might have to pull the headliner down a little bit too. I'm gonna leave the occupancy camera connected. If I don't need to mess with it, I don't wanna take it apart. But we're basically there. This is where the cameras actually are. This is the cover we need to take off. If you move the cameras or this adjustment at all, you'll need to recalibrate your cameras. But at this point, we're not gonna have to, because we're just removing the stuff around them. We're not changing where they are and what they can see out of the screen. So we're just gonna take these two Torx out and then we'll be there. So these are T10 Torx, and we're just gonna remove the two, one on each side. This is the T10 Torx on the driver's side. So now that those two T10 Torx screws are removed, all that's gonna happen is we're just gonna drop this down, and it has little pieces that fit in notches here. So it's gotta come down and forward. So to reinstall this, these tabs have to fit up into these channels. And there's little pins that go in there to center it. So you just push it up and in and then tilt it forward. These holes will line up. We'll put the two Torx screws back in. The T10 Torx screws are back in place. They don't need a lot of snugging up, so don't overdo it. The next step is going to be to reinstall the upper trim with the occupancy camera. Make sure that your plug for your rear view mirror is through, otherwise you won't be able to get it later. And the upper edge of this lip needs to get up under the headliner. With the upper part up inside the headliner, it hangs about here, and we're just going to push it up so that the clip's engaged. Remember, there's 4, so you should feel 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's engaged. Next, we're going to plug our mirror back in. So this is the position it's got to be in. You'll feel it drop in place right there. And now it can turn back to center. And now it's centered and locked in place. It's kind of spring-loaded. Last step here is this bottom clip, and again, these ears that protrude from it need to go up inside first. So it's going to go all the way up. Make sure that they're both up inside. And then you can push the rear of it until it clips into place. Make sure it's all pushed in flush. You can see it's all flush, so that's clipped into place. And we're all done.